ignorance
will save your business.
I'm talking now to the entrepreneurs that we have. This principle, the understanding of ignorance, will actually not just save your business, it will also help you in whatever venture that you have. One of the things that I have observed over time, particularly when you are an entrepreneur, is because consistently you're the person people look up to provide answers, to provide solutions to all the problem. You would have assumed a sense of responsibility to provide solutions at every moment in time. And when you keep doing that, it can impinge or impact on your ego so much that you think that you have the answers, you have the best solution. And it's not also helping that most entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs, have this driven, choleric, outgoing, very bullish personality. So it's much more difficult for people within the environment to say, this is our opinion, and it differs from the position you're holding. And then lastly, because most times these people are so entrenched in significantly understand the nuances of their businesses much more than most people around them, it's easy to assume that you have all the answer, and that is the beginning of problems for entrepreneurs. And I'm not saying that to say that I've gotten beyond that point. In fact, for me, it was until recently that I realized that the things I know is very small compared to the things I don't know. Actually, science also proves it, that you end up using less than under 5% of your mental capacity per time. So if that is true, then we need to now start asking ourselves, you're using under 5% of your mental capacity. It means 9.5 out of 10 times your brain is redundant. It means 9.5 out of 10 times you don't know what the answer is. Now that's also now introduced, what do we need to do as entrepreneurs? We need to actually begin to rethink the concept of ignorance. Because when we talk about ignorance, if I look at you right now and say you are an ignorant person, the first thing you want to think about is to say that it is an insult. But really, it is not an insult. It's a statement of fact, because it's obvious that if you look at, let's do samples across different elements of knowledge. How many people do you know? An average person probably will know about 100 to 200 people intimately, or quite well. If you are that popular, you have so many friends, you probably don't know much more than the first 1,000 or 2,000 people within your environment. So the question would ask is, even if you're just using Lagos, for example, if you know 5,000 people very well, 5,000 divided by 30 million was so small compared to the people that exist in Lagos. And we now expand it to Nigeria, and that also translates not just to people you know, it also translates to issues of what you know, even about the business you do. It translates to what you know about what is going to happen in your industry. It translates to what you should know about the expertise adjacent to you, and what you should know about even the operations of your business. So it is time you start to ask yourself, what if I'm ignorant? That's the first one. If you start asking that, then the question will now be, what do I need to do to step a bit higher? One of the problems is when you don't embrace ignorance, your chance of personal development is significantly reduced because you think you know. And the problem most times is, it is easier when you know what you don't know, but it's actually borderline catastrophic. When you don't know that you don't know, and you don't know that you don't know that you don't know. It is double whammy. So for a business person, the first thing is to say, look, I don't know. That should be the first one. When you say, I don't know, then the second question would, what do I need to do now to know? Am I going to take courses? Am I going to listen more? Am I going to listen more? Am I going to speak to mentors? Am I going to read up a book? Am I going to just search online to find out solutions to everything? So at the point of, you're confronted with scenarios that you need to make those decisions, you need to accept the fact that really, I do not know, and then go look for what you know. When we begin to apply that principle, it virtually changes the way we run our lives. It changes the way we run our businesses. It changes the way we respond to issues. Number two is when we start to embrace the concept of I don't know, the concept of ignorance. What it does is actually to reduce the pressure that comes on you when you are in the face of crisis, when you are in the face of decision making that you have to make at that time. Number three, it makes you a bit more open and more collaborative, because what if truly I don't know? Then the question is, what if the other guy knows? Or what does the other guy know that I can add to my repertoire of knowledge. And when we begin to think in this order, what it does is it transforms the quality of the decisions made. And I learned that the very hard way. I used to think I had some firm knowledge in some specific areas of the business we do, in some specific area of how I interact with people, and then I generally would assume that since I know this, and the outcome of my engagement should be this particular one. But I realized that it wasn't gelling. I thought I knew, I thought I was good with this, and then this is my expected outcome. But at the end of the day, there's a dissonance between what I expect and what I'm getting. And then I started thinking, really, what if I do not truly know? What if I do not truly know? And then when you ask that question of what if I do not truly know, then the next question will be, who do I need to talk to? I'm lucky to have partners, friends that we've done business together over the last few years. So I started asking, what would you do in this scenario? What should I do in this scenario? And unlike before, that I would ask the question because I thought I was just trying to bounce or to validate what I was thinking. I was actually asking with a bit more open-mindedness to say, look, I really want to learn. Let me get your viewpoint. And I realized that some of the decisions that had been taken before that time, similar to the scenario I was in, were poorer, errors or were poorer decisions compared to the quality of decisions I would take now. And then that was a very humbling lesson. So what is the conclusion of the whole matter? To say that ignorance is not necessarily an insult, it's not a state of inferior existence, it's not a representation of your knowledge. In fact, the man that asks more, the man that seeks knowledge more is the wiser person. So let's begin to embrace the concept of ignorance. Let's begin to be able to say, look, I do not truly know. I'm just also trying to find the answer myself. When we do that, beyond the fact that people are more willing to have this conversation that can provide value to us, it reduces the pressure that we feel to be the alpha and the omega, the solution provider in all scenarios. And then number three, it opens our mind to the possibility that exists. What I know is this, that there is someone out there who is better than the things that you are best at any point in time. So your job is actually to ask, who is better than the things I'm best at? And then what can I learn from that person? And digital platform provides us the opportunity to actually get to connect with better thought, with better knowledge. Every time is at the tip of your finger. So let's embrace ignorance. Let it save you. Let it help. And then lastly, when people know that you are not so cluttered up, you are not so defensive, you are open to learning, it's easy for people to reach out to you, to help you, to suggest, to say, look, I think you might want to take a look at this. I think you should do this. The essence of mentorship sometimes is to actually translate from your level of ignorance to a higher level of knowledge. And let me say this, the things you would know in life is so small compared to the things you should know, and that is what I've realized. So we need at every point in time to be a student of knowledge, to keep asking, what if I'm wrong? What else can I know or should I know about this scenario? Who knows better than the best knowledge I have about this area? The reason why a lot of high-achieving individuals have is very solid team. You can't do well without that team. Is they look for, this is the high-achieving individual. You look for who is better at me at operations, who is better at me at finance, who is better at me at marketing, who is better at me at sales, who's better at me at all, just different aspects. And then they listen to these people and then they move forward faster. That is the problem that most entrepreneurs would have, because they think they are the better ones at operation, they are better at marketing, they are better at sales, they are better at finance, they are better, they don't listen, they don't access from the knowledge baskets that they have around them. That is the problem. So we need to embrace ignorance as a virtue. We need to embrace ignorance as a tool to actually get from where we are to where we want to get to. At the end of the day, your journey in life is not about that journey. It's about who you become as a person. So the more knowledgeable you become, the better you are, and the more value you can create and more value you can receive, and the less pressure you have on yourself. Embrace ignorance today as a tool to both